Hi, welcome back. I have some exciting news.
Yes.
Guess what this episode is?
What is it?
It is a big one.
Really?
A big one.
Aren't they all pretty big?
They're all pretty big. They're all pretty awesome. But this is our 300th episode.
What?
I know. 300.
300? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
How the time flies.
I'm telling you.
There's only 52 weeks in a year.
I know. That's why, so if you do them every single day, like if you're kicking them out, it's like, yeah, they've been doing it for less than a year? No big deal. Do it once a week, that changes the whole thing.
300 episodes. That's
a lot.
That's exciting.
That's a lot.
This has been a big gift of love that we've been
so much.
Really just wanting to bring light into the world.
Absolutely. And then it got me thinking about, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Do you remember how we started that?
The past.
We were in Phoenix and things weren't going great. And you weren't doing great. And then we came out here, right? Mm-hmm. And then when we came out here, what were we doing when we came out here?
Lots of things with animals. So many cats. Hundreds of cats that passed through our house.
100. Yeah, we did the numbers one time, didn't we?
Yes.
About all the ferals and fixed and
community cats.
And community cats. And yeah. It was a big number. So anyway.
And then I started helping nonprofits full time, helping them to.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. To build them up. You were helping all the rescues with building their
working together
and doing their money fundraising and stuff like that. That's right.
It's kind of that long-going message in our life, whether it was when we were teaching in Phoenix or teaching out here, doing it for animals or doing it for people.
Yes.
When we work together, amazing things can happen. Bringing that unity, cohesiveness.
Now, there was that time in there that we had started to, we were wrapping up the volunteering-ish. Well, I was, and I wanted to start doing business stuff. So I was going to get a business started.
Got some pretty great plans for that.
And I worked pretty hard at those
You
plans.
did.
I worked very, very
60
hard.
60 hours a week sometimes.
And
just writing up the stuff, doing your research.
Just doing, different business plans and da-da-da. And then
every single door just slammed in our face. Boom and boom and boom. And the universe said, no, no, no.
I know, right?
And sometimes what we tend to do is when we feel like a door shuts, we think, wow, I just really need to work really hard for this. Because if I work really hard,
we can overcome that.
And the rewards will be amazing because what is worth it takes a lot of effort.
Exactly.
And yet,
it was not what we were supposed to be doing.
It's
not what I was supposed to be doing.
And what was it that you kept telling me? There was something.
Oh,
you
that's
kept
right.
saying
Because when we met, you were doing you were doing the psychic stuff, and you were doing the healing stuff, and you were doing the classes and stuff back in
angel
Phoenix.
readings,
all of that stuff. And then when you were really sick, you got really sick.
I had to let go of my clients, which was a very hard time for me.
And classes and everything else.
Yeah.
And then when we were out here, that kind of went by the wayside a little bit.
And I kept saying no. The universe kept knocking, and I kept saying no.
And you knew you were supposed to be doing that.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not born with gifts like that and have nothing to do with them.
And I've known since I was a child that this was my destiny. This is what I was supposed to do.
And
I kind of had that direct line with the universe telling me that.
Yes, you did.
And I also said, I have free will, and I didn't feel like doing it anymore.
Right. So we weren't going to do it, and I'm 100% behind you until I got my butt kicked.
Time after time,
and eventually...
And then in a very direct way.
In a very direct way. So we're in there, and we're gonna get a house. So we have a building,
large building.
Yeah. So we have a company that needs a building to go to, and we had found a building that we could do where they were going to be part of it, and we were going to be part of it. And I had a whole business plan set up, and this building was perfect, and I couldn't get a hold of the guy that owned the building. So I'd spent like a year doing other things, but also trying to get a hold of this guy. So one day, after multiple really big projects had fallen through for the last few years.
And it was like the sky opened, and the person answered the call.
It
felt like the universe.
Yeah, he answers the call. We go see the place.
Immediately.
It's perfectly, like literally, it was like, oh yeah, I can go down there. So we go down, we see the building. It's exactly what we need. And the guy was like, oh yeah, well this is what I'm looking for. And he wanted less than we thought he wanted. And it was perfect price to begin. And it was like, oh my God, everything was so perfect. We'd finally turned a corner. It was just everything was laying out at our feet.
I wasn't going to have to do what I know my destiny is
because we had this whole other plan. Exactly, the
I
whole
could say
plan.
no to the universe.
And we're literally walking out the back door, and you get that phone call, right?
Yeah.
From the guy, and the guy's like, this gentleman was like, "Hey, can you come do this thing that has to do with what you do now? Can you come
energy work,
right? And so, can you come do this for us?" And And she was like, "Well, I mean, yeah, I could, do that for you." And he was like, "Oh, and by the way, that company, or this company I was hearing about, don't you guys do work with them?" And we were like, "Yeah. Did you hear they found a building? Isn't that amazing?" And that's the building that we were there to get. So the whole thing, within about 5 steps, went from our entire future and the world was perfect, and it all literally just and we were on our face.
And it could not have been a more clear message.
Right.
Because you had said many times,
Yes.
I need to do what the universe is telling me to do.
Yes.
I'm very good at what I do. And I just really kept wanting to say, no, I don't have to.
Yes.
There's a book called The Reluctant Messiah.
The Reluctant Messiah.
It was like something
Messiah.
I'd often really liked that book as a child. And there were certain aspects of it that I would relate to. And I really liked the ability to say, you know what, universe, I felt like you turned your back on me and I'm turning my back on you, and we're still going to help the world in big ways. And the universe could not have been more clear. And the universe knows.
Okay, I gave you time. I gave you time to do your thing.
And
now it's time.
And in that one phone call, being so clear of saying, hey, can you come do this psychic energy work helping me out thing that I did not advertise to people that I did. And in the same conversation, that building you're looking at, that's not going to happen.
In this moment,
And after we pulled out of there, I just remember feeling your heart sinking.
I was just crushed.
And the universe knows that the one way to get me to do anything, if it really matters enough, is to punish him, because I won't tolerate that. And so seeing how heartbroken you were.
I did feel punished, I have to say. It was a little bit punishing.
Yes, I can take the punishment. Yes. Don't do that to my honey.
You can take the punishment like nobody, man. It's crazy.
But then when we were in the car and your hopes and dreams had just kind of fallen down a bottomless pit.
We have to do this.
No, actually what you said was, you have to do what the universe said you need to do.
That's exactly what I said.
And I just looked at you and I went, okay.
I was so mad. I was like, you have to do this. And she went, okay. And I was like, I'm serious. Oh, really?
Was not the answer he expected to hear.
No, she'd been saying no for years.
But I could see,
This was finally the time. Yeah. And so it was what? Like the next weekend or 2 weekends later? We
set up Earth and Sky Center. We did our first broadcast. And when we started Earth and Sky Center, we actually started this on the 3rd floor of a dear friend of ours, her house.
It was awesome.
It was beautiful up there. It looks like a dollhouse in a way.
It's amazing. And we would have we'd have the donuts and all the stuff, and everybody would come up on Sunday morning, and it was kind of chilly sometimes in the winters, but it kind of made
hot coffee.
Even though that's what I'm saying, it made it so cool. It was sort of it was a really neat experience to be there, and it's like you're kind of, and everything gets quiet. And then we do the live stream, and that was very cool.
We had larger in-person audiences.
Yes, we did.
Which was really nice.
Yeah.
And it was it felt so comforting. It really felt like it was supposed to be. Yeah. And it just really became a very quick catalyst.
And then, so then from there we started the streams. You went back to teaching and doing sessions.
I think an angel class was one of the first classes.
Oh, that's right.
I taught.
That's right.
I used to do a lot with the angels back in the 90s. I would teach angel classes. I worked as an angelic communicator, helping people learn how to communicate with their own guardian angels, and worked a lot with the archangels. So I figured I'll start right back into that spot.
So you went back in. So you started teaching classes, and the classes got traction, and those sessions, of course. I mean, and the amazing thing is when the universe wants you to do something and you agree and you go with the universe,
everything falls into place.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I worked so hard for so many years on those things, and it would trudge along, and it would get to the end and just over. And trudge along and just be over. And then all of a sudden, we get on this path, and it was just like, what do you need? We need this. Here you go. What do you need? We need this. Here you go. And it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And suddenly then we're going up and we start traveling and doing, so then we were at her place, and then we started coming to what we now have is Earth and Sky and doing stuff.
In between there is when we started to get a bit into selling crystals. Before we had our own spot at Earth and Sky, I would actually, when I would be a guest teacher at different businesses, I would take small boxes of crystals that mattered with the types of classes that I would teaching and sell them out of these small boxes. And then it was, and I believe it was 2014 was when we did our first big buying trip. And now we've had buying trips everywhere from Arizona to New York to Illinois.
We do all the buying. So then we get the crystal store, and the crystal store gets up and running, and that has to do. So now
that would have been about 2016 because that's when we got our official building for Earth and Sky Center. And I think 2017 we had the crystal shop like fully equipped.
And the classes are growing all over the place, and we had started traveling. And everything was growing so well, and then the world stopped.
The present.
And then COVID hit. And we had all of those classes that we had scheduled that we were going to be traveling. Because you had one in like Virginia.
Yes, a conference I was the keynote speaker for in Virginia.
And it was just everything, and you had a thing going to Canada that was set, and all of these things. Yes, and everything, the whole world shuts down, and it's just like,
and we had to do. And actually, right in the start of that, I'd been in Italy, and I was in Italy as the lockdown started.
Everybody in Italy. COVID.
That is not true at all.
She was like in Rome. She left that day. The entire place shut down. Then she went to Florence. Then she moved on to the next one, and Florence shut down.
And
she goes to Venice. Venice shut down. She gets on a plane. As the plane's leaving, they go, finally, she's gone. And they shut all of Italy down.
And it was the last
flight
of the country,
literally.
Or because I would have been there for 3 months.
Yeah, they would have done it earlier, but they were like, no, get her out.
It was not my fault. I did not have COVID there, thank
she goodness. She had such a complex about that. It was so funny.
But anyway. But the world paused at that point.
The whole entire planet
stopped.
Our
business model, what we were doing, it had to pause.
Teaching and traveling.
Allow.
And doing so much.
Yes.
Yes,
and so amazing. It really caused quite a shift in what we were doing. I had plans for going to Japan and plans for teaching in Canada and plans for like all of these different spots, and everything one by one was canceled, understandably.
Of course, understandably. But then everything starts to open back up. It was so funny. It's like 3 months out. Yay! I'm going to do the thing in Canada and and it's all got set and I'm super excited. And then 2 months out, I'm not going to be able to go to Canada because they closed it. And then a month out, yay, I think I'm going to be able to go to Canada. And everything's opening up and it's so great. And then like 3 weeks out, I don't think I'm going to be able to go to Canada.
I think everyone in the world was experiencing that need for flexibility and all of the shifting that was happening. And there were some amazing lessons that came through all of that with patience. And it really was a beautiful way to open up what our business model was. Because at that point, I was only teaching live classes, whether it was at our home base in mid-Michigan or if it was on the road or another country or wherever it was.
But it was only
all
in class.
Face-to-face.
Yes, exactly.
And through the lockdown, we have developed a lot of different things. We started teaching online courses and figuring out how to do it through the Dragonfire method. We pride ourselves on quality and integration.
Yes.
I don't want to ever be that person that just teaches a class and sends you home and you feel like, that was amazing, I love it. And then afterwards, you never implement it. It doesn't become part of your life.
Then you get home and you go, that was amazing, and what did she say again?
Exactly. When it's too fast, our brains cannot handle that capacity.
Exactly. And
so
you do a great job with
the lockdown, we were able to really put our heads together in some big ways of how do we do this in a meaningful way that allows integration, that allows people to be able to change their lives. That's our goal with every class, whether it's numerology or whether it's Reiki or knowledge of crystals, whatever it is. Shamanism. We want it to change your lives and help you reach into the destiny that you have. If you don't know what your life purpose is yet, we want to help you discover through asking questions so you discover yourself what your life purpose is. So it was figuring out how do we navigate having this meaningful connection when we can't be face to face currently. And in the very beginning part of that with the lockdown of COVID, there was this incredible ignition of energy that came through with Reiki. And over a 2-week period, there was a very specific day it started and a very specific day it ended. There was this huge burst that I felt. And this was the time that the Dragonfire Reiki energy really fully ignited and came to the planet in a way that was teachable. And at that exact same window of time, start date to end date, is when the Holy Fire 3 online energy came to planet. William Rand, Condoline Benelli, and I all were working, not even realizing it was the exact same dates, feeling this huge surge of Reiki energy that had come down as answers to our prayers and requests of like, how do we do this? How do we help the world when the world needs healing the most? And in that 2-week window, I wrote a 100-page manual for the Beyond the Masters Dragonfire teaching, which is the level 5 Reiki course, or the fifth level of the Reiki courses that I teach. And it's just been amazing the way things have moved forward, and now we're doing a lot of hybrid classes as well. Now that we're able to meet in person, we travel a lot, but so as we had transitioned out of COVID and all of the things opened up and countries opened up and the travel did open up, you still were able to do the amazing journeys to Canada and the amazing journey to Japan and all of that stuff. And so, post-COVID, the trip to Edmonton, Alberta was the first one that we did internationally post-COVID for teaching, and it felt so good to be around people again. At that point, we had to have a lot of special things that we were implementing to make sure everyone was safe through that, and it was an amazing experience. I think that appreciation for being able to have that connection one-to-one and face-to-face has expanded even more. Like we, as a culture, society, we valued that more after having to be just in our homes for so long.
Once you lose it and then you get it back, you really go, wow, it
gives you the appreciation of the present. Really.
Exactly.
It's kind of what we're talking about.
And online can be amazing, but in face to face, there's still a very beautiful and connective thing that I think people have a more of a connection with. So
exactly. And then we were moving as we started getting back into the swing of the live classes again. We've been going a couple times a year to Kansas and a couple times a year to Northern Michigan, and starting to get all the speaking engagements locked in again, as well as the classes, which has really been our primary focus. And where we talked in the past about that reluctance that I had of doing this, I knew that this was my calling. I enjoyed it a lot when I was younger. I got a little frustrated when I got sick and felt like that's a whole other life talk. But as we've embraced it again, I feel the joy in this, and I feel like coming through this era with COVID, it really helped me to go even more internal in my own journey with this and building that excitement, as I really am thrilled that we're in this phase of Earth and Sky. The future. And as we're moving into the future, there are so many exciting things that we're seeing on the horizon that we're starting to move into. One of those is the 300 and 500 hour Reiki certification program. That is a wonderful way to really have a robust experience with Reiki.
And you've been putting this together for a while, and now that it's starting to take off, I'm really seeing
where this is going to go. It's such an amazing idea.
It is, yeah, and it's a wonderful way to make sure people are getting a really good experience, both with their self-Reiki and working on others and all of the class time hours as well. Yeah. And that Reiki certification program is one of the components that leads into our Dragonfire teacher accreditation program.
Right. Which is what we absolutely need, because I've noticed, like, when we're traveling and teaching and all of that, we can only do so much. I mean,
it's just you and I.
Yeah, I mean, we go there and we meet these people, and I mean, and it's an amazing thing, and the healing and the life changes happen. But it's just, then we leave, and it's just like, I feel like we're leaving them like stranded, without. And so just having that Dragonfire teacher accreditation, where the teachers can be all over the world,
Exactly, because we do love to mentor our students long term afterwards, but we only have so many hours in the day. And so we want to see this spread far and wide and farther and wider and more frequent than what we are able to do just on our own. And so the certification program is one that leads into that accreditation program, so that we can provide a really good quality education for the teacher training that embodies what we do with the Dragonfire techniques, which is really allowing a lot of integration time and bringing the practices in to your daily life and allowing the teachers to be able to walk the walk that they teach.
Exactly. Well, and that way, when you talk to someone and they go, no, I do it the Dragonfire teaching way, you go, oh, that's the way I want. That's the way that I can learn and grow and take it in and make it part of my life and the amazing things that can go with it.
And we're looking forward to being able to eventually have satellite campuses in multiple areas.
Absolutely.
And
that reminds me, so if you want to have us come out and see and do classes where you're at and teach where you're at, we're looking at.
So we have lots of ideas of cities in mind, but we are scouting out areas in Chicago, New York, and Phoenix currently. But if you would like us to come to your area, wherever that area is, we're certainly open to other areas, and we're always looking to expand, and we would love to really help you be able to bring this together. Be
that first person, because I'll tell you, when we come out and we start teaching in these areas, the light and the life-changing things that happen and just the energy of it really starts to grow. It's an amazing thing. I mean, and I wish I could say it was us, but it's Reiki and the energy and the love and the growth and it's just the amazing things that happen. And if you want to be one of those first people that really starts that and grows that in your area and helps start to change the lives, not just of yourself, but all of the people around you, call us. So you can either go to our website, earthandskycenter.com, or you write to us
reach out to us
at earthskycenter@gmail.com.
And looking into building these satellite schools in multiple areas where we can come in periodically and check in with everybody, teach classes periodically, but also have other Dragonfire teachers that are teaching these methods and allowing one life at a time to build. And again, I love that you mentioned it's not us. We're not the ones that are doing this. It is completely the light of Reiki, the light of Dragonfire that is guiding this. And it always feels like such an incredible honor just to be a small part of what we see is the transformation in all the people's lives around us. I can't wait to the day that we eventually get an event center in our home area as well, because we'd like to be able to have a space where we can host larger classes and also have accommodations for people that want to come in for longer term retreats and to be immersed in a really beautiful healing environment, to have that transformation really centered within a nurturing space and then integrated where you bring that out into your own lives. And having those satellite areas in other areas as well will be such a beautiful dream. We really, through this whole process, we just let Reiki lead this process. It's not us. We just follow the guidance of Reiki.
And like we had said earlier, that when you're on the right track, what the universe wants, it just sort of, this is what you need, and the universe gives it to you, and it gives it to you, and it gives it to you. And it's like we've just been on a rocket ship. Once we chose to do this and started moving forwards, and it's growing up so fast. So
yes, and it's exciting. I can't wait to see whatever it is that the future brings, and I look forward to hearing your own ideas and inspiration. We love watching the journeys of our students and hearing the stories of how Reiki is impacting one life at a time in each of these different areas. So please feel free to reach out if you want to be part of the future of Dragonfire Reiki.
Absolutely. So earthandskycenter.com has all of the classes, all of the information, anything you could possibly think of, I think. Go out and check out our website. Also, if you want to reach out to us directly, earthskycenter@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Whether you want the classes, you want us to come out to you, you want to be part of this.
Sign up for our newsletter as well.
Absolutely.
We have so many classes coming up all the time.
Yes, all the time.
Lots of new classes that are actually not new, but many requested classes.
Over and over.
We are currently launching again. Yes. So we always have new things coming up. Definitely let us know.
And we hope you like this. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, subscribe. And we want to thank you for watching our 300th episode. And we hope to see you next time at 301.
Have a great day, everyone.